Hello, welcome to part three of the Titan Phoenix models series. So I wanted to sort of put everything together in this final part. Um, let's just go through the disclosures. Obviously, this is just education purposes. We're having fun here, but you really can lose money, so be careful. Okay, so let's review the main components of both models. So both of these models are based off of a 5-minute opening range play. One is a momentum play coming out of it. That's called the Titan. The second one is a reversal back towards it. That's the Phoenix play. I relisted you can look at video 1 and 2 for more details with examples, but I just wanted to recap some of the main points, such as the time frames that I will be trading these models. Monday and Friday are the restricted times due to them sometimes being slower days, no news, and I've seen a lot of false breakouts on those days, so starting at 10 o'clock, it works better for me. For the Titan, like I said, it's a momentum play, so as we're breaking out of the opening range, the biggest red flag for that trade not working usually is that you slam right into a key area of interest, which I believe I list them on the next slide, just to refresh everybody. And you have SMT. So I'm very cautious on those because you are going to have the players that are just jumping into breakouts and they're going to get caught hitting a major area of interest. So I pay attention to that, and those are when I skip those trades. The Phoenix is the reversal play, and this has a strict set of criteria that's needed in order for the setup to show up, and it needs to hit the key area of interest. You get the SMT as the odds enhancer. I can take it without the SMT, but it really does help to have that. Then on the 1 minute time frame, I want to see the mini sweep, inversion, fair value gap. That's my favorite kind of entry for that reversal. And if we're in macro time of day, even better. But again, I could still trade that outside of a macro window. But again, if you have the SMT and the macro and all that, it really does amplify the probabilities. So remember, this is based off of the first 5 minutes of the New York Open. So 9:30 to 9:35, we are outlining the high and low. That is our range that we're playing with for the morning session. We're also going to list out all these key area of interest. Again, this is all repeated from the first two videos. I'm just doing a fast recap. And I'm not, now a word of caution, and I did this myself trading last week. I started to add in other areas of interest, such as the 30-minute range high and low, the 30-minute range middle. I used even a 60-minute fair value gap. There's 50,000 levels we can choose from. I find that I'm trying to keep this model extremely simple. So this set of key areas, which are like 4 or 5 lines on your chart, tend to be the highest probability of some kind of event happening there. So rotation, so reversal, or price being drawn to one of these levels. Of course, you can have whatever levels you want. It's your trading system. Make this your own, but this is what I'm currently using. I even put in the previous 3 new week opening gaps and new day opening gaps. But if I'm honest with you, I'm not really using this that much because, again, I start to get conflicting information and analysis paralysis because I really start to overthink things. So if you have that problem too, I suggest less is more. Take off a few things off your chart, keep the bare minimum that gives you the information that you need in order to execute consistently. That's just my recommendation. Okay, so the Titan entry criteria, I just have this fast slide for you guys just to see all the details. We want to see the close, the explosive close outside of the 5-minute opening range. We want that candle to be part of a fair value gap series. And you're going to get in immediately once the fair value gap series has completed. So after candle number 3, you're going to get in. It's questionable where you want to put your stop. I like to put it above or below candle number 1, the start of the fair value gap series, or the nearest swing high or low. It depends how big that stop is going to be, because I have an invalidation here where I will not place a trade if the stop is going to be more than 50 points. It's not, you don't really put the stop where you feel like you could afford it. You're putting the stop where the trade is truly invalidated. So the trade for me is invalidated if we're coming back into the opening range and completely creating an inversion fair value gap of that breakout fair value gap. So again, the biggest invalidation signal for me is when you're seeing SMT occur at the area of interest. So you'll have the opening range, and many times one of my favorite plays is you have the opening range, and right near it would be like previous day low, or maybe we have Asia low, the overnight low here. And so you're pretty close. I would say like maybe you can get a 2-to-1 out of it, but more often than not that it might be closer than that. You get your, let's say you get your Titan signal like this. You break out, and let's say the breakout's like that. You touch the overnight lows, but ES did not. So that would be SMT. I would wait instead to see, are we going to get a rotation and maybe a Phoenix play back to the opening range. So I really pay attention if there's an area of interest right around that opening range, because these are like trap plays in a way. Just think of all those people who are taking Titan type of momentum breakout traders. They're going to get caught with their face right into a wall. So we still have to pay attention to big picture ideas, which is, you know, these key areas. We can't ignore that we have a key daily high or low right in our face, because price will be sensitive to these areas. Okay, so you can save yourself a couple of, you know, hits from by paying attention to stuff like this. Phoenix, you're going to hit the key area of interest. I kind of just showed it in the last little drawing I did. You're immediately going to get a sweep on the 1 minute. So I like to see if we hit the area, I like to see the mini sweep like that, come right back in immediately. There's your inversion, and take it back to the opening range. You could take it to the low, the middle, the other side. It depends. This needs to be at least 2-to-1 to me. Well, whatever my first target is. So if we're like too close to the bottom of the opening range, then I'm going to go to the middle, because I need this to be at least 2-to-1. I don't like to say take 1-to-1 trades, or just given the win rate, my personal win rate, probably due to psychology mostly, it's not that high. It doesn't need to be that high as long as I'm taking 2-to-1s or higher. Okay. And the A++ part of this would be that you have SMT down here with ES, that this is also a macro window. Then odds enhancer, it's really an odds enhancer after that. Okay. So that's just a fast recap of both models. I wanted to mention it here. Now I want to talk about the two happening at the same time. Part of my challenge, as I've been exploring this, everybody knows I did the back testing of this, over 300 trades, 300 days of trades. It was very favorable, profitable model. Now the challenge in real time, obviously, besides mostly the psychology part of it, is holding onto the trade until target. So that's very difficult, especially in sideways conditions, consolidation. You know, things don't hit the target exactly when we want to. You're in the trade. That's all you can do is set your entry, stop, and target, and there is nothing else to do but submit to time. So that's been a personal challenge for me. Now, when you're in the trade, another challenge that might seem to come up is where, for example, you get your Titan trade. So there's your breakout, you're in it short, right? And you're in the trade, and then down here, you hit your key level and you end up getting the Phoenix model. So the question is, what do I do? All right. Part of seeing stuff like this is there's a big psychological component to it. The psychology around this is, one, being able to flip your narrative after you already kind of committed to whatever the outcome is of your first trade. So there was a reason you chose whatever target you chose on this first trade. So for me, the target should be 2-to-1. So my first thing I want to say is, if the nearest level, the nearest key level that would potentially create a Phoenix play is too close, meaning less than 2-to-1 room for your Titan, then that should probably be a skip. Why? Because you're going to get in it. It might go 1-to-1, hit your level, and then you get the Phoenix play. And in your mind, it's very difficult to flip from long to short and back. And you're going to start maybe questioning it or flipping back and forth. Then you're going to be mad when it goes like this. So to prevent all of that, you can just wait for maybe a higher odds situation, which is if you're near a key area of interest from the list that I gave you, maybe just wait for the Phoenix play. That way you don't have to encounter a situation like this where you're flipping from short to long. I personally don't like to just jump out of trades and then flip the other way. I start to like doubt myself. I start to forget what was I even doing in the beginning of the day. So one tip would be do not flip models, meaning if you're going to take that Titan play, you take it to your target or your stop. That's it. You don't jump out. You don't flip to another model. You just take it to whatever decision you made at the start of that trade. If you have your own criteria for early exit, you might have something that says, okay, well, it didn't reach my target by macro time. I want to be out. Maybe that's your personal rule. Fine, go for it. But me personally, I rather just let the target or the stop hit the original one. And then just, because more often than not, I'm over managing my trades. So that's advice number one. Wait until the stop or your target is hit. Okay. Now I look back on a couple of the charts, and I didn't go back to all 300 of the charts, but in general, I'm not seeing situations where it warrants a flip, meaning you're in one still and then the other model shows up. Okay. Because one is a breakout momentum play, right? With the move. The other one will be a reversal, which would be against what you're already doing, right? Many times, if you're taking the 2-to-1 on Titan, this will be, in most cases, achieved before a Phoenix play shows up. I've seen several times where you get exactly the 2-to-1, and then all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, the Phoenix model has showed up and you can get in. But at least your target has been hit. So remember, stop or target is hit. And it kind of clears the slate for you to think fresh and say, okay, let me reevaluate where we're at. And is this a different kind of model that's presenting itself? So it kind of frees you of that because the target was hit and you're out of that position, and you can make a clear decision on whether to take the next setup. So I put down this list of like, maybe this is going to happen. I don't really see it. I don't really see it happen that much, but I'm still articulating this. Maybe I'm going to change it. But for now, I feel like for me to flip from a Titan to a Phoenix, I like literally get out of the trade early to switch direction. I need a lot of things to happen at the same time. Maybe two major area of interest at the same time, or maybe I guess one major area of interest plus SMT plus macro time of day, all happening as like a huge red flag that Phoenix is going to be in play and come all the way back on me, and you know the Titan's going to get stopped out. Again, I have these as potential areas. I have not really used that much because I'm trying to keep it super simple. All right, let's look at a couple of charts just to like talk about it a little bit more. So here we're in the Titan long. Remember our breakout trade. We get our fair value gap right here, and immediately get in on candle number 3. You put your stop under the fair value gap series or the swing low. In this case, I did the swing low because it was less than 50 points. You are aiming for 2-to-1, right? Now, as we're heading there, which this is very difficult to stare at, we see this. So what do I see? I see macro time of day. I see the mini sweep. I see inversion. This looks like Phoenix, doesn't it? Here's the problem. You got your setup, but you don't have your key area. So why are you taking this? This is not like, yes, we did come back as a retracement, but it was not a full-on reversal because we don't have a key area of interest here. So you need your area. I don't know why I'm writing in yellow. That's hard to see. You need your area, your setup, and if for those who like the extra odds enhancer, your time of day, which is going to be the macro time. So this had like 2 out of 3 things. So it was almost there. But again, you're in the Titan and it didn't hit your target here yet. So you don't need to jump out necessarily. I'm talking to myself mostly. Target ends up being hit. This is not comfortable to sit through at all. So if you're one that, you know, maybe you do say to yourself, you're super aggressive, one inversion plus that sweep and the macro, that might be enough for you to immediately get out. You just take your profit. Because to be honest, this and this were not that far from each other. So are you really going to be like greedy like that? I don't know. But that could be your own criteria. Okay. I'm just trying to practice not over managing my trades and giving them room. So that's one example. Here's another example. Here's a Titan. We got our breakout. And the question is this a Titan into a Phoenix? And do we take it? Do we jump out? And the answer here is no, because, well, we got in our entry. Let's just show where our entry is. Well, we can see it right here. Got our stop up here in the swing, right? That's less than 50 points, so that's okay. We're aiming for a 2-to-1. Now, as you can see, we have Asia lows here, and I have Asia lows down here for ES because I'm watching it. Now this, again, you got the mini sweep. This might be macro time, maybe not, maybe like 10-15, but that's okay. And then you have the inversion, right? You may think, oh, we hit the key level, we got the mini sweep, we have the inversion, I want to take it back to the middle or the other side of the opening range. But what do we not have? We don't have SMT down there. So they both made it to Asia lows. They both swept through Asia low, let's say. If NQ would have done what it did here, and ES was more like this, and not at Asia low, so none of this happened, then we'd have the SMT at the key, super key area, and that might be the signal that, or, you know, maybe this is going to turn into a phoenix. But again, it may keep us busy jumping in and out and flipping positions just for this to just hit your target anyways. Okay, but this did end up hitting a target here. But I'm just saying, if your 2-to-1 for some reason was lower, you know, it might be helpful to just see how does your performance do if you did not fiddle with your trades and you just kept your original stop or target, and then you see for yourself if your fiddling is actually destroying your P&L. I know mine does. Okay, last example. I took this from one of the weekly reviews that I do because it has some good stuff in it. So like I had said, it's a little bit rare from what I'm seeing where you're going to be in a Titan and then get a Phoenix reversal and have to decide, oh my God, am I going to jump out but I'm already in one style of the model, and then I'm going to flip to the other style. Usually you're going to get signals that keep you out of Titan if you're going to get a Phoenix reversal. So right here, maybe that was going to be a Titan, but major SMT at the New York AM highs here. That's a major area. So pass. If anything, you're not taking the Titan. Maybe this is not a Phoenix, whatever your criteria is, but it's not a Titan. So you don't have to make a decision there, okay? Then we're down here, and we get our fair value gap series right there, and we are not taking it. Again, we're not taking a short. Why? Because ES did not make it to London lows and NQ did. Again, major level SMT. So I rather wait to see if I'm going to end up getting a reversal signal. And you saw this, right? And typically I'd probably start to feel like, oh, I missed it, right? But remember, what I'm really waiting for is I want to see that mini sweep. This is the checklist. SMT, got it. I want to see the mini sweep. What mini sweep happened here? It didn't. So we may have to give it a little bit more time, and on some sort of mini sweep has to happen, so it doesn't happen till here. And then got your inversion, and we take it back to the middle and to the other side. So again, the reversal setup might take a little while to develop, but at least we have our criteria for when the probability of a Titan play, momentum play, is pretty low. And that's when stuff like this happens. So we didn't have to make the decision to be in one trade and take the other. Now, when you're in this Phoenix play, and say, well, after 11:15, we're not initiating any more trades. So maybe that was like exactly 11:15. Maybe it was 11:16. I guess I would have allowed that. We could have allowed that because it's still like, you know, plus or minus 1 minute. So we took that trade. After that, there's absolutely no re-entry to a new position based on the models that I'm doing right now. So say we had this, and then let me stretch this out. And then, oh my God, look, we have a Titan signal here. We're not taking that. We're just going to live or die by our Phoenix entry, stop, entry, target, and we're just going to submit to time because we're not re-entering trades after 11:15. And this will also prevent you from jumping in and out of your ideas and over managing trades. I'm just talking out loud. These are just some ideas I'm thinking about of real life stuff that comes up when you're actively trading the market, because it's so easy in hindsight. When you're there watching it, you start to overthink everything. Well, I do. So here's some risk/trade management tips. 1, 2 maximum attempts per day. This is really going to keep you from chopping yourself to death. And there really shouldn't be any back-to-back entries. So if you missed your entry, wait for the next one. If you're stopped out for some reason, just let price develop until the next signal. That's not going to happen in the next 1 minute candle. Not for these two models. Now, there's a reason I have the Monday and Friday 10 a.m. rule. So I'm following that. You don't have to, but I like it. It saves me a lot of paper cuts. Don't anticipate the setup like Phoenix. Don't anticipate it, because it absolutely might not happen. So you really need to see your sweep. You get back inside. Don't anticipate your inversion. Let it invert, and then you get your signal. Okay, so that's a thing a lot of traders do. And then if the Titan shows up with SMT, it's better not even to bother with that trade, which that's a pass for me anyways. But it's a little bit of a red flag and a precursor for maybe the Phoenix setups are going to show up. Give that time to develop and see if it's true. If it just blows right through the level and just starts skyrocketing straight, that's fine. More often than not, that's not going to happen, but it might happen sometimes. And like the SMT was false or gave just like a little pullback and then it kept shooting through. That's okay. There'll be more. For the targeting tips, Titan, like I said, 2 to 1 is what I back tested, and it was very profitable. And then for the Phoenix, remember, we're trying to take it back to the opening range. If Phoenix happens pretty far from the 5-minute opening range, you can use the 30-minute opening range, low, middle, and high if you want to. If that's a level that's closer, but it's still at least 2 to 1. If you don't want to sit in a trade too long, just make sure you're getting at least your 2 to 1. And hold on, let me just see if anything else. No, that's pretty much it. So let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful. I know talking it out for me really helps. Thanks, everybody.